Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I thought we would do the if I lost all my makeup, these are the products I would repurchase first. I thought this would be a great time to do it since the Sephora sale starts on November 1st, and hopefully some of this can kind of give you some recommendations. Some of these are products that I feel like I've talked about so many times, are holy grails, and then some I feel like I don't want to talk about that often, but they're just staples that I kind of just use off camera and then I just like live, breathe, and die for. First, I'm going to actually start with eyes. I was going to start with face, but I have a lot of products. I tried to narrow it down, but it was really hard. Some things I was really cutthroat with, some things that not so much. The first thing that I would need to go repurchase, these are some of my favorite palettes, is the Patrick Ta Major Dimension palette. So the one that I use the most is the number 3, which was the all matte, and then you have 2 creams. I will say I don't use the creams a lot just because I'm not a huge cream eyeshadow person, but the mattes in here are so blendable, so pigmented. You get a row of cool tones and a row of warm, and I feel like this is just like a perfect palette. It is pricey, but his shadows are so good. And then the other one that I use just as much, honestly, and I have used the creams a couple times in this one. I can't hold it up because one shade is broke, and I did get my money back for it. I really love this palette. His shimmers in this palette are just so wet and glimmery. I feel like, honestly, I feel like camera like just doesn't do it justice. I feel like to see these, it's like to see them in person. A lot of the times that I wear this shadow, I get so many compliments because it's not glitter, like party glitter, crazy. It's just like a very, like, you could wear it every day, you could really dress it up. But these are the 2 I would have to repurchase because the shimmers in this one specifically I love, and then the mattes, I just, so worth the money, especially with the Sephora sale coming up. The one I have on my eyes today, I feel like I don't use it as often just because it's not as like a neutral palette. This is the second one, still absolutely gorgeous. Sorry, wrong one. The second one, which is the Major Dimension 2, is just like the more rosy, pinkier tones. Still gorgeous, honestly. I have the mattes on, and then this shimmer and this shimmer on today. Again, I don't think I've used the creams in this one. I can't remember, but still gorgeous. I just want to throw a quick shout out. I just got this in the mail. I haven't seen anyone talk about it. I did a TikTok and a reel on this one, so if you want to watch the reel on it, it should be like right below this one or something. This is the Kylie Cosmetics Holiday Palette, and it's just like a little quad. The shades in this palette are absolutely stunning. I don't know if it's gonna focus. Like, actually gorgeous. They remind me kind of the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb is what it kind of reminds me of. So I did top my eyeshadow with, I think this shade was the one I used. So pretty. If you love like a glimmery shadow that kind of just looks wet and adds just like a little sparkle to the eyes, I highly recommend this. You do get 4. They are kind of small, but honestly I feel like I wouldn't run through this that quick because a little goes a long way. They just feel very similar to the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb. So yeah, I highly recommend this palette. But this palette, Natasha Denona Glam, this has been, hold on, it needs a little WD-40. It's a little, this has been one of my go-to palettes for years. I honestly, if you need a good stable cool toned with so many different finishes, you have mattes, you have shimmers, you have metallics, you have kind of like satin shades, I guess. Like, they're not super metallic. I will say I use the mattes the most in this palette. Like these, like this right here, and these right here. Love. I feel like it's the perfect cool tone. Like, it's not too cool tone where it's like gray blue, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like that perfect warm or cool tone, like neutral. Like, you have this shade that really can like warm things up. You have like a couple like cooler tone transitions. Such a beautiful palette. Natasha Denona, her formula is one of the best. Truly, it's amazing. If I had to recommend any Natasha Denona palette, it will always be this one. And then 2 Lunar Beauty palettes. Now, I probably could have left these out, but I just love his shimmers. And I am really like turning into like a shimmer topper person. I have the Facelift Life's a Drag palette. I do love this color story. Again, you would have colorfuls, you have your neutrals, the shimmers. This white shimmer is so pretty. Like, I don't know if you're really gonna see it, but it is so pretty, like topped over an eyeshadow, or if you pack on this white and then top it. I used this one, I'm pretty sure, on my wedding day. Honestly, I was so like, in the moment, I kind of don't remember, but I'm pretty sure I did. I just love this palette, and his formula is really amazing. I also love the Nude Prism palette by him. Again, the mattes are gorgeous, but the shimmers in this palette are just so pretty. You can even see the like reflective tone. They're so just like wet and glimmery on the eyes. So pretty. I feel like his palettes need like just deserve more hype. And then the last two palettes, these are tried and true. I think these are so worth the money. I travel with these so often. Honestly, like if you just need a good staple all matte palette, the ones by Makeup by Mario are honestly some of the best. I have the new cooler toned version and then the warm toned. I think both of these are amazing. I used a little bit of this one today. I reach for these almost every single time I do my eyeshadow. I feel like these have every single eyeshadow you could possibly need. They are just perfect, like perfect. If I could recommend one all matte eyeshadow, I would recommend one of these. If you like cool tones, if you like warmer tones, these are perfection. The formula is pigmented enough, but also very buildable and very easy to work with. I really love those palettes. I do think they are worth the splurge. They are expensive, but they're so easy to travel with because they're literally like the size of my hand. And then the last two eye products, these are just toppers. I just like love. As you can see, I really love just a matte shadow and then like a shimmery topper. Of course, the Moon Dust Urban Decay Shadow in Space Cowboy. I think this is just everyone's favorite, honestly. This is like a true glitter topper. Like, there's hardly any pigment to it. It is literally just like, I honestly don't even know if you're gonna be able to see it. This is one of those shadows where, like on camera, I feel like it's not gonna do it justice. If you're out in sunlight or under low light, you're really gonna see it. It's literally just like a dusting of glitter. Just like soft little specks of glitter, just a nice dusting. Honestly, sometimes I'll just throw on bronzer, just like a brown shade or something, and throw this on, and it just spices up the look so much because, again, it's not in your face. It's just very like little dusting of glitter all over. I really like these. If you want kind of just, again, glitter with really no pigment, I think this is really pretty. The thing is the Fenty Beauty Diamond Bomb. I will say this is very pricey. This I never use on my face. This is How Many Carats. I hope this is still available. Fenty Beauty was ahead of their time. Oh no. Oh shoot, I don't have a paper towel. Okay, well, I just accidentally dropped that and dug my nail into it, but whatever. She was ahead of her time when she made this. This is perfect for the eyes. Like, if I just want to add a little pizzazz to my eyes, I love to use this over top of shimmers. I'll put a shimmer on and I'm like, it needs a little something. I'll grab this. It is just, when they market this for your face, I wouldn't use this on my face personally. You do you, but for the eyes, it is like the most like wet, I mean, like you can see, like gorgeous shadow, like insanely pretty. I don't even want to bother swatching these. Like, they're not gonna show up on camera like they are in person, but like the formula of these is so odd. It's so thin. It's just so creamy and soft. I don't know how to explain the texture of this, but it is the most like wet glimmer. It's literally so pretty. Oh my gosh. Okay, now I think I'll go ahead and move on to face. So I only have one primer to talk about. I have oily combination skin, but my favorite primer, this is my holy grail. This is the One Size Secure the Blur primer. The writing is coming off. This is in such a good primer. This will make your makeup last all day long. If it's very like a thin consistency, a little bit thicker than like a serum, like very like kind of that consistency. So good if you struggle with oiliness, large pores. It's very blurring, but it's super oil controlling without being too intense. I haven't tried any of his other primers because I haven't heard great things, but for me, this one never peels. It is so good at keeping my makeup on all day long. Like, literally, it's just like a foolproof primer. I feel like if you're someone who doesn't notice a difference, if you have oily skin and you don't notice a difference with primer, I think this one is one of the best out there. And then this setting spray I want to mention, the All Nighter by Urban Decay. I have purchased this so many times. I again think this is perfect. I do like the Charlotte Tilbury one. For me though, sometimes I think it adds a little bit more of a glow than I want. I topped my makeup with it today and I feel like I am looking like pretty glowy, which I don't mind, but for long wear, I just know this one. I trust it. I wore it on my wedding day. I just think this makes your makeup like so foolproof. I don't know if it makes it completely transfer proof, but I definitely think it helps. And it just helps to make my makeup last all day. It gives it kind of like a satin finish. It's not fully matte, but just kind of gives it like more skin-like finish. This is the rest. I have literally have backups of this primer or this setting spray. It's my absolute favorite. A couple of foundations. Well, I have one foundation and two skin tints. I really try to narrow this down to what my tried and true is. I honestly don't even wear foundation a lot of the times I do my makeup. I will every once in a while. I have this one on today. It is the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade Oslo. If you have watched my channel, you know I love this foundation. This is just my holy grail. Honestly, this is just like perfection to me. I did mix this in with the Dior Forever Skin Glow on my wedding day, which I do love that one too. But if I had to choose between, I would choose this one. It is just like the most your skin but better foundation. It is so just, it's like a medium coverage. You can build it up if you want, but I like my foundations more of like a medium coverage. This is just like perfect. Like, I don't know how to explain it more than just like, it is so skin-like while giving you just the most perfect amount of coverage, smoothing everything out, making everything look more flawless. It has kind of like a natural satin finish. It's not glowy, it's not matte, it's just kind of perfect in between. And this lasts all day long on me. Please, like if you have oily skin, or if you have dry skin, if you have mature skin, if you have combination skin, normal skin, I think every skin type would love this. I think this would look so pretty on just about everyone, honestly. It just looks like your skin perfected. Two skin tints. I have one more high-end and one more drugstore. So I have the Cali Ray Free Dreaming, wait, what is this called? Yeah, Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. I have talked about this so many times. My biggest selling point is whenever I went to Florida, we were taking family photos, I wore this foundation, or this skin tint, and in Florida was in a heat wave, so it was like 115 degrees or something like that. I was sick, literally taking pictures in 115 degree heat. It's Florida, so it feels like a swamp all the time. And this completely lasted through that. Looked perfectly fine. This is probably my favorite skin tint. Truly, the best skin tint I've ever used. It has kind of a more matte finish, which I like since I do have oily skin. And I feel like so many skin tints are so hard to find that aren't so oily and greasy. I truly didn't know if there was a skin tint that didn't exist that wasn't oily and greasy. This lasts so well. It actually has a pretty good amount of coverage. I would say it's a low to medium coverage. It doesn't cover everything, but it does kind of just perfect the skin. It is just my favorite. I'm a little worried that it is getting discontinued. I don't know if it's getting discontinued or taken off Sephora because they keep being on sale and there's only a couple of shades left. I don't know. I'm a little worried it's getting discontinued. I hope not, because this is truly the best skin tint that I've ever tried, and it doesn't get talked about enough. One from the drugstore, I will say this is kind of pricey for the drugstore. I think it's $20, which I think is pricey, especially since there's foundations at Sephora that are only a little bit more. So yeah, I don't know what you're doing, L'Oreal, but this is the L'Oreal True Match Nude Serum Skin Foundation. This one has more of a satiny finish, maybe leaning more natural dewy. This one has way more coverage than this one. This one is truly a skin tint. It might cover just a little bit, but it's kind of just evens out my skin, makes it look a little bit more flawless. Again, even though it does have more of a satiny finish, it does last really well. I will say I hate this packaging. This literally might be one of the most worst, like one of the worst packages some of the worst packaging I've ever seen. Like, the dropper never works. Honestly, don't know if it works for anyone. I just don't know where the logic with that one was, but the product itself is very beautiful. If you want something that's just your skin but better, just like a little, like something to kind of just perfect and even the skin a little bit, not really add coverage or anything, but just kind of give you just a little something and just have kind of like a nice, like natural lip from within glow, you would really like this. It does last really well on me. I do set it. I set all of my foundations, all of my concealers. Again, I have oily skin, so I never don't set my face, but this one is super beautiful. I have two concealers. This one was really hard for me. I am truly a concealer like lover. There are times that I honestly don't really ever wear foundation. I'll just wear concealer. I think you can honestly find a perfect concealer and really not even need foundation, but these are the two where I was like, you know what are ones that I reach for constantly that I know will always work for me. I want to give an honorable mention to the Dior Forever Skin Concealer. It is so beautiful and I love it, and I'm literally wearing it today. But if I'm being honest with myself, if I literally lost all my makeup, would it be the first one I bought? Probably not, because it's an arm and a leg and it's expensive and it's kind of like a splurge item. But if you want a splurge on concealer or a foundation, the Dior Forever Skin Glow Foundation and Concealer, gorgeous. But anywho, first one is the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer. This is so good. Like, I was worried because I did hear a lot of hype, but I didn't like the foundation of this one. But the concealer is just full coverage. Like, a little goes a long way with this one, but it's very thin in a way and doesn't look heavy, doesn't look cakey, adds a lot of coverage and like really covering up while not looking like too makeup-y. One thing I feel like I find with like Huda Beauty products is sometimes she just does the full coverage to the max. Like, her foundation, her old concealer were so full coverage and they looked full coverage. They looked cakey, they looked heavy. And this one is just like a thinner consistency while giving you a lot of coverage. It has like a matte finish, maybe like satin matte. I honestly think if you had dry skin or like dry under eyes, you probably wouldn't even have to set this one. Again, I said, but this one lasts all day long. Like, this concealer is not going to budge, isn't going to go anywhere. The next one is the Haus Labs concealer. This one is more of kind of like an everyday concealer. This one has kind of like more of a medium coverage. It's not super full coverage, which again, I like. I don't always want something super full coverage. I think this is great for every day because it does add coverage while not being super crazy. It lasts really well and it just looks really nice underneath the eyes. Don't know what else to say. Sometimes I feel like when I love a product, I just love it, and I can't really even tell you why I love it so much. But this is a really nice concealer. If you want something just every day, a nice medium coverage that's going to last really well, that doesn't crease really fast, you'll really like this one. I have the shade 03 Fair Rosy. Okay, moving on to powders. Two pressed powders. Now, I don't use pressed powder all the time. I've been back into like setting my entire face. But these are two that I love to use to set underneath my eyes, to set my face. If I want to kind of bring a powder to maybe like touch up a little bit, or if, I don't know. These are just like tried and trues. These are really nice. I have the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Powder Foundation. This is in the shade 120. So this is a powder foundation, but honestly, it just adds just a little bit of coverage. It has a nice velvety matte finish. It doesn't look heavy, it doesn't look cakey, even though it does add just like maybe a kiss more coverage. It doesn't make it look like really powdery and heavy. This is a really nice like touch-up powder too. Really good. And then also my one size, as you can see, I used to carry this one in my purse, but I took it out. This is the one size powder foundation. Again, even though this is a powder foundation, it does just add a little coverage while not being overpowering. I feel like this is kind of almost like a satin matte. It's not a super matte finish. I would say the Fenty Beauty one might honestly be a little, well, maybe they're about the same. Kind of like just like that satin velvety matte. This is a great touch-up powder if you want to touch up with this during the day. I just take like a little powder puff because this one does not look heavy. It's so skin-like, and with honestly both of these, if you decide to touch up, like I feel like sometimes it's hard to touch up during the day because if I'm really that oily that I feel like I need to touch up with powder, sometimes I feel like they, you know, can cause it to separate. It can kind of cling or kind of just like look like I just added another layer of makeup over top. This one sinks into the skin, looks really pretty, very skin-like. This is a very nice powder. I've never used either of these as a powder foundation. It's not like my thing. I don't love powder foundation, but as a like touch-up setting powder, really nice. And then I have 3 loose powders, which I know is crazy, but first one, hello, obviously Huda Beauty. This one is in the shade Cupcake. I also have Cherry Blossom. Gorgeous powders, like truly such a nice powder. They're very finely milled. I kind of don't mind the smell, but just perfection. Like if I know, like if my makeup is just not looking the best, I'm kind of just like, I know this powder is gonna perfect it. It's just so smooth, so airbrushed. It doesn't look heavy, and it just makes your skin look just a little bit more flawless and just really airbrushes everything. Just puts a filter over your face. Like, this is such a good powder. I do think it is worth the splurge. Now the other one I'm going to mention mainly because of the color, but the powder itself is also a very nice finely milled powder. This is the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter. This is in the shade Lavender. Now when you hear lavender, you're probably like, lavender? Why would I want purple powder underneath my eyes? But if you have very fair skin like I do, sometimes these like pink powders don't really brighten up. They kind of can just add like a pink cast. But this one is a true lavender. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. Like, I don't want to, let me just see if I can dump some into the cap. I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but this is like a true like soft lavender powder. So if you really want to brighten up your under eyes, this will do it. I honestly, again, for fair skin, it's hard to find things that are going to brighten up your under eyes without adding a cast or not just being stark white. The purple in this is very soft, but it just adds this like really nice brightness to the under eyes. I do like this formula a little bit more, but this is still such a beautiful formula. Very nice, very finely milled. I just think this one's a little bit more like perfecting a matte, but I love the lavender shade, and I'm very surprised that Huda Beauty hasn't came out with a lavender powder. Obviously the pinks are really nice, but I'm just surprised. Huda, if you're out there, make a lavender powder. I promise you. Like at first, when I first tried this, I was scared of it. Sometimes if I want just like, I'm like looking at like I did my makeup and I'm looking at my makeup and I'm like, it just looks a little dark, or I just feel like it needs a little brightness. I'll just take this on like a little puff or a little brush and just kind of dust it underneath the eyes. Like a little goes a long way. Honestly, what I like to do the most with this is I'll mix it in with like a translucent or the Cupcake shade, just to add a little bit more brightness to that shade, just so it's not so crazy brightening. And then the last one is just one I've been using for years and years. It is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. If you are on a budget and you don't want to splurge on the Huda Beauty or the Fenty, look no further. This is the best drugstore loose powder I have ever used. This one is in the shade Fair. They have multiple colors. It's very pretty. Kind of is a similar formula to the Huda Beauty one. I feel like it's not quite as like finely milled maybe. This one actually I feel like kind of adds just like a little coverage. Not crazy, not like anything major, but just perfects the skin a little bit more. This is like honestly a tried and true for me. I've used this since I was in high school. It's a really nice drugstore powder. It used to be like $6 or $8, but who knows now. Very nice powder. Super pretty. Kind of the same things I just said about that one. Just perfects if I feel like my makeup's not looking good. That is why I love a loose powder. I feel like it really helps to just perfect the makeup. But this is very nice. Next is bronzer. So I have 2 creams and 2 powders. So the first one is the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. As you can see, I have hit major pan on this. This is probably one of the most user-friendly cream bronzers I've ever tried. If you are someone who's just getting into cream bronzer, cream products, if you're just getting into trying it and you're scared, because there are some cream products that are very pigmented, a little goes a long way. This one is so foolproof. You can load your brush up and it's still gonna go on so nicely. I just feel like this is the most, like, if I'm in a hurry and I just want to throw on a bronzer, this is just like, just literally I can just slap it on and it's still gonna look good. It is so skin-like. It has just enough like warmth to add to the face, but it is nothing crazy. It's just like the perfect your skin but better bronzer. You could wear this with literally no makeup. If you're someone who just wants to add a little color to your face, you want to kind of sculpt a little bit, you honestly don't even have to have a speck of makeup on this. It is the most like non-makeup-y looking cream bronzer ever. A holy grail that I've mentioned so many times. Patrick Ta, what is this? Contour and Bronzer Duo. So the cream is a more contour shade, and then the bronzer is, or the powder is more of a bronzer shade. So I, again, love this. This is a little bit more of like a thicker formula compared to this Makeup by Mario. But again, very skin-like, very easy to use, gives you the softest just contour to your face. I've had this for years, honestly, it hasn't dried out. Still works perfectly fine. I'm just now hitting pan. I feel like there's so much product in this. The powder is really, really nice. Very just like, I don't know. This is just a perfect, again, if you're just getting into cream contour, I feel like I prefer my cream contour and my cream bronzer not crazy pigmented. Again, I have fair skin, so sometimes like those really pigmented ones can just look very orange very quick, or really intense super fast. But this one, again, super easy to work with, melts into the skin, gives you just like a soft sculpt, and you get a powder. I honestly think these are a really good deal for a high-end cream bronzer and duo. I honestly take this all the time to travel because I don't have to pack a bronzer, and I have a cream contour right here, so I have everything I need. This is one of my try and trues. I absolutely love this product. And then the powder bronzer. So I do love the Patrick Ta powder bronzer, obviously, but this, I started my channel with this, I'm pretty sure. This is the Fenty Beauty in the Sun bronzer. I also have Shady Biz, which I like because it's a little bit more warm. One thing I like about hers is each shade range has kind of a cooler tone bronzer and a warmer tone bronzer. And this, if you have fair skin, is probably the most like perfect neutral bronzer. It isn't too cool, it isn't too warm, it is like that perfect in between. I honestly haven't found a shade more perfect than this one, because you could use it as contour, you could use it as bronzer. I feel like sometimes maybe I don't want a crazy bronzer, like an everyday look. Maybe I don't want something super insane. This is perfect. It just gives me a little bit of a sculpt and a little bit of warmth without it being too pigmented. These honestly don't swatch the best because they're very kind of they're very kind of like sheer in a way, and honestly you can even tell right there. Here's the Fenty one and here's the Patrick Ta. So you can see the Patrick Ta has a lot more warmth, and this has like almost like if you mix these two together it would be the Fenty Beauty one. So pretty. Her formula is just tried and true. Again, super beginner friendly because it's not super pigmented. It's more of a buildable formula, but has an amazing shade range. And the next one is one that I just can't stop reaching for lately. It's the Haus Labs Powder Sculpt Velvet Bronzer. This is light level 1. So pretty. Very velvety. Almost has, her powder products almost have like a blurring consistency to them. So again, kind of similar in tone to the Fenty Beauty one, maybe a little cooler. Her blushes, her bronzer give that kind of like airbrush powder effect to the face. Very velvety, like the name suggests. Such an easy formula to work with. These one are a little bit more pigmented than the Fenty Beauty one, but still easy to work with. And every time I use it, I just feel like it looks so just airbrush and flawless. A really nice bronzer. Okay, next I have blush, and if you watch my channel you know that I love blush. Also, one thing I do want to mention is there are a lot of other products that I absolutely love that are tried and trues that have been discontinued. So I didn't mention them because I looked them up to make sure you could still get them, and you can't. So there's a lot of things that I also still like would really be upset if I lost because apparently they're discontinued. Let's start with creams and liquids first, and then I'll do powder. I have two liquid blushes. I have the Say Dew blushes. This is in the shade Spicy. And a side note, I kind of just chose like one color of each. I didn't feel like getting out every single color that I had. So the shades I'm showing, I'm not talking about just those in particular, just kind of the collection as a whole. I have the same ones. These are so nice. If you... Actually, I'm going to go ahead and mention this one too. I also have the Rare Beauty one. I'm going to mention these together because this is like a more subdued version of the Rare Beauty. The Rare Beauty ones are very pigmented. One dot goes such a long way with these. You could honestly have this one blush for the rest of your entire life. It is insane how little goes a long way with these. So since they are so pigmented, they do last really well on the skin. She has like a matte formula and a dewy one, but these ones are a lot more like user-friendly. If you're again beginner to liquid blush and you're kind of scared of the Rare Beauty ones, I would get the same ones. They're very much more like sheer. Let me just see if I can swatch it. Just like kind of like a sheer. Now this one is like kind of a deeper color, but a lot more like sheer, buildable. I don't feel like I have to be as careful with these as I do the Rare Beauty ones. So you can kind of even see there, like that's the Rare Beauty blended out. That's one dot blended out. And this is the Say. So you can see like even though this is a much darker color, it blends out a lot more like sheer. So if you want something that's more pigmented and is going to last longer, get the Rare Beauty. If you want something more user-friendly, a little bit more sheer, doesn't last as long, still has a good staying power, but these definitely last longer, I would get the Say. I have the Rose Ink. I feel like no one ever talks about these, but I love the Rose Ink blushes. They're kind of like a more clay, like putty formula, but this is in the shade Camilla, in case you were curious. But I love these. They have the prettiest shades. Very just like kind of a kiss of color. You can build them up if you want to. You can keep them a little bit more sheer. Just a very easy cream blush to work with, and they just look very nice and just like second skin on the face. It's the Patrick Ta ones. Obviously I was going to mention these. I absolutely love these. These again, I think these are really great bang for your buck because you do get a cream and you do get a powder, and I feel like these last so long. Just honestly such a great formula. They do have pigments, like they are kind of, the bolder shades are a little bit more pigmented, so I do use like a lighter hand, but just still so user-friendly, so blendable, just look so pretty on the skin. And you do get a cream, you get a powder, and again, when I travel, I'll just take maybe one or two of these, and then I don't have to worry about taking a cream and a powder. I have this one on today, which is the shade Not Too Much, but just so pretty. And I think he comes out with the prettiest shades. And then two powder formulas. I have the Too Faced Cloud Crush Blurring Blush. That is quite the name. But this, I actually reach for this so often. It does kind of have like a blurring finish to it, but it's just so pretty on the skin. I just, for one, love this shade. This is the shade Golden Hour. They kind of have a little bit of like a sheen, or at least this shade. I haven't tried any of the other shades, so I don't want to speak for those, but this shade specifically has a little bit of a sheen to it, but it just looks so nice and skin-like on the face. Gives you a nice like flush. I really love this color during the summer because it has kind of a little bit of a golden pink to it. And then the last blush, I feel like I haven't talked about these in a long time, but I love these. This is the Lawless Make Me Blush Velvet Blush, and you can get these at Sephora. Not two shades, but I honestly love, this is Angel Suede, no, this is Sakura, I don't know, and Angel Suede. But these are like a true velvet formula, like the name should suggest. Very almost like a creamy powder. Like when you touch it, like it's just so velvety, and they kind of are like a little blurring. They just look really nice on the face. They're just such a creamy matte. and super pretty. And again, gorgeous shades, and I feel like these don't get talked about enough. Okay, last section, I'm pretty sure, is lip. I'm gonna first start with lip liner. So I have 4, and these are the shades that I probably use the most, but I also just like love the formula. So first I have NYX Mauve. This is one of my absolutely favorite lip liners. I feel like I have talked about this nonstop. I use it so often. It's such a nice shade. Like, that's it, pretty pigmented, but honestly, if you blend it out, it just kind of, it's just like a little darker than my lips. Like, it's just like the perfect mauve-y, cool tones, pinky nude. I absolutely love this shade, and I specifically like the the Slim Matte lip pencils. Those are my favorite by NYX. I also have MAC World. Obviously, MAC lip liners are some of the best. I have so many of them, and I absolutely love them. I feel like MAC World is very similar to NYX Mauve. It's just a little bit more warm, I think. It's just a little bit more warm. Doesn't have quite as like purpley mauve tones as MAC World, but obviously MAC World, or just MAC lip liners in general, are just such a like tried and true. And then I have Makeup by Mario Hue. This shade in particular, I honestly for a while couldn't stop using. I still love this. This one is a lot more of like a pinky nude with like a cooler toned. Such a pretty shade. I love his lip liners. Again, I have a lot of these too, and they're all wooden pencils. I would say this one is just like a little bit creamier than these. MAC is probably the driest, and then NYX, and then Makeup by Mario. Still like a creamy formula, but not so creamy that it doesn't last and that it kind of just rubs off, or that it's hard to work with. But it's just like the perfect like dry where it's easy to use, but it's not too dry that it's just tugging and like drying on the lips. But I love these. Sephora collection is the newest one to my collection, but I absolutely love it. My only thing is I don't love the like, this type of formula is not my absolute favorite, but the color is just so good. I can't help it. They just like kind of like not crayon, more creamy. Normally I like a wooden pencils like these 3. I like more of a drier formula, but this one is still really easy to work with, and even though it's creamy, it's not too creamy. And I don't love the roll-up version, but it's fine. This is in the shade The Nudist. This is like the most perfect My Lips But Better nude I have found. Again, I do have a short on this, so it should be somewhere on my page swatching this, but this is like the most perfect cool toned nude pinky lip. It is literally just like a shade darker than my lips, so just like the perfect shade, honestly. I'm gonna mention these because I'm afraid I'm gonna forget them if I don't. The Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip Plumps. I love these. I honestly love these even more than I thought. My favorite is probably Cherry Blossom, but in the wintertime, I wear Honeysuckle all the time. Like, it looks super dark, but it's just so pretty. Like, they're just such a perfect sheer wash of color. I also have the shade Poppy, which is super pretty during the summer. But they're just like a really pretty sheer wash of color. They plump the lips just a smidge, like literally just like a little bit. And they just look so pretty on the lips. And I feel like they're just so easy to touch up throughout the day. And yeah, I think they actually last pretty well too for such a creamy, like shiny formula. They're like a lip gloss and a lipstick together. But I love these. Since I did those, I'll go ahead and do some lipsticks or lip glosses. I have quite a few lip glosses I'm noticing now. First one I'm wearing on my lips, this is Fenty Beauty Sweet Mouth. I love all of the Fenty Beauty glosses. I love the gloss bombs, the heat, the creams, all of them. I feel like if I had to pick one shade, I would probably choose Sweet Mouth. I feel like it's just such a perfect, like pearly, clear, kind of like wash of pinky nude. It's not got like a ton of pigment, but it just adds like a nice like wash of color. And it just looks really like pretty and juicy on the lips. Obviously Fenty Gloss Bomb is just like a tried and true. Then I have a Buxom gloss. I feel like I don't talk about these a lot, but again, I have quite a few colors in these and I love this formula. So this is the full-on plumping lip polish. I don't love the lip creams. I think they can be a little like thick and like goopy, but the polish, I love these. This one is my most used shade. This is the shade Dylan. Again, this is kind of just like, honestly, a very similar color to Fenty Sweet Mouth. It's pretty much just a clear with like a little bit of pink, not gonna lie, but this one has like, it's a little bit of a thicker formula, but it's not like sticky and like kind of goopy, but it has kind of like that minty plumping. It's not super plumping. I wouldn't say it's not like the Too Faced or the Fenty Heats where it's like burning, stinging, and your lips literally like double in size. It just kind of has like a cooling, minty sensation. Like right now I can kind of feel like the cooliness, but it's nothing like super intense or crazy. I have the Patrick Ta. So this one in particular, this shade in Full Syringe, I love. I feel like this is so pretty over top of like a nude gloss or like a nude lipstick, I mean, because it kind of just gives like the most like sheer wash of just like this cherry red and just makes your lips look so juicy and plump, and just kind of this like sheer red color kind of just like gives it that like just bitten popsicle lip. So pretty. I love this gloss. I will say this one has like a cinnamony, it kind of just smells like a fall candle, I'm not gonna lie, which isn't my absolute favorite scent, but I just love the gloss so much. And this one is like a plumping gloss. Even though it has that cinnamony kind of like scent, it's not like the Too Faced or anything where it's like super intense. And then I have the what is this called? Glossy Bounce. I have been loving this. Like I have been reaching for this so much. These have a little bit more pigment, but they're still pretty sheer. Hold on so I can see. I want to have so much lip gloss on. Like a very thin gloss. I hate the like smell and taste of these. I hate. It smells like an old school lip gloss. I don't know how to explain it. Like it just smells and tastes like makeup. Like if I literally just ate a lipstick. But see how it has some, like it has, this is 2 coats, so as you can see, but it does have a little bit more pigment to it, but they're still so thin and just glossy on the lips and give you just a little bit of color, but nothing super crazy. I was looking at the color Dream by them because I thought that would be really pretty for the fall time. And then last but not least is the Haus Labs Lip Glaze. So this is like a lip oil and a lip gloss together. These do have some pigment, like enough where you could tell the colors apart. This is in the shade Persimmon. So that is it right there. So this is kind of a lot more of like a thinner consistency, more of like if a lip gloss and a lip oil had a baby, that would be these. But I love this formula. I was wearing this a lot last winter because that's when I got it. Perfect color for like the fall winter time. I was also looking at Macaron and Fig because I thought Fig would be really pretty with just like a little, like a deeper lip liner and like a fall lip. Last things is bullet lipstick. So I love a bullet lipstick. That is just what I use more than like a liquid lipstick. But first I want to mention the Benetint by Benefit. This is just the like cherry shade. I use this so much more than I honestly even thought I would. Like you can kind of see how much I've used this. A little goes a long way with this. You can use this on your, honestly, you can use this anywhere you want if you know the original reason why this was made, but you can use this on your cheeks. I like to use this as a lip tint. I will put it underneath lipsticks. Again, a little dab of this in the middle, a nude lip liner, a lipstick if you want, and then topped with this. So pretty, so juicy, so pretty, and just like that perfect like popsicle just bitten cherry lip. Super pretty. You can build this up if you want to. I like to just do a couple dots. If I'm like just wanting to kind of make myself look a little bit better but I don't want to put on makeup, I'll curl my lashes and I'll put just like a dot of this on my lips because it adds just the subtle, most like subtle tint to my lips. So this will add just the softest little tint, as you can see right here, and so it just looks a little bit more lively, but just like perfectly just like that soft tint. So I have been absolutely loving this. Last 2 things, I have the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks. I love the Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks, but the one in particular that I'm talking about is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk Fair. This is such a good pinky nude for fair skin. If you have fair skin, it is really hard to find a nude that isn't very warm, very orange, or honestly, even if you find like a pinky nude, sometimes they end up being a bold lip. Like they end up being like a straight up like pink. But I feel like this one, I honestly love to like dab my bullet lipsticks on, especially for a nude, because sometimes I don't want crazy pigment. I just want like a little wash of color. This is such a pretty cooler toned pinky nude. I have been absolutely loving this ever since I got it. And I think if you have fair skin, this is a really great pink nude. And then my trusty MAC lipsticks. These are probably the most used lipsticks I have in my whole collection. I love all the formulas from MAC. I just pulled 4 of my like most used. These are the ones that I use constantly. I absolutely love my MAC lipsticks. I honestly would be so sad if I lost them because I use the bold shades from them. I use the creamy shades from them. I use the nudes. I use the satins. I use the mattes. Like I just love my MAC lipstick. So as you can see, they're all kind of like pinky nudes except for one. So I have Angel, which is a frost lipstick. And then I have Cream Cup, which is a cream sheen. Yeah. And then I have Blankety, which is a amplified lipstick. And then we have Honey Love, which is just the tried and true. And that one is a matte lipstick. Right? Yes. So Honey Love, I've actually went through like 2 or 3. This is either my second or third. I can't remember. And you can see like I've made quite a dent. I just love my MAC lipsticks. I feel like they're so nostalgic. And I would just always love them. They're always will probably be my most reached for and most used lipsticks. And I just like love these colors. So didn't trim that down as much as I kind of had hoped and thought I did. But these are all my products that I feel like I'm constantly reaching for, that I would just want to have back in my collection, that I know I love and that I would honestly recommend to people. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.